because that way you will always be enslaved.
Everyone needs to hear
whatever.
this. It also makes me sad. I love that he just laughs.
It's a mistake.
Original sin. It's laughable.
Sin is too strong a word, maybe it's a mistake. So too many mistakes are being made in the world, no question. Why the hell should you
Sex
worship
is
the Creator?
creation. I am so excited. The likelihood that they're going to be sexual because the body drive is there. It is exciting, especially as a teenager. You probably remember, parent, how excited your body was at that time.
Ready for the video?
Yes, let's do this.
Perfect. Conscious practice. What's conscious? This is Vish and
Lynn.
And today we'll be responding to Sadhguru's video on
Is sex a sin? Sadhguru answers.
My name is Vish. I'm an aspiring yogi, love all things meditation, wisdom, yoga based. Super grateful to have
Lynn Beulah.
on the show. Want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a therapist and I primarily work with people who want to improve their relationships, especially whenever it comes to sexuality.
Wow, so that will be a cool perspective.
I am so excited.
Would love to hear what you all think about sex. Do you think it's a sin? Do you not think it's a sin? Let us know in the comments down below. Before we start, Jami Lynn, what do you think? Do you think sex is a sin?
No. The shortest answer in the world, no. But I did grow up in Texas, so I am from a family that was Christian, and the teaching there is that sex is sinful unless you do it very specific ways. And so all of that is in me just because of where I grew up and what I was taught, but I do not actually believe it.
There we go. Well, this unique background as well as current standing that she has with spirituality will be super awesome to hear, and as well as her career background. So with that,
let's watch.
This is a fantastic device to keep people enslaved forever. And to cover this, there's a whole lot of other stories which I don't want to enter. Phenomenal tools to control populations,
Agreed.
which has been successfully done for a long time.
How to control people, scare them.
It depends on how we shaped ourselves. If we become wonderful human beings, it's one thing. If we have become an ugly manifestation of humanity, definitely it's an original sin.
I love that he just laughs.
It's a mistake.
Original sin. It's laughable.
Sin is too strong a word, maybe it's a mistake. So too many mistakes are being made in the world, no question. You claim to
May 7th is my birthday.
appreciate or, well, you worship the one who is referred to as the Creator, but you have a huge issue with the creation. If you do not appreciate the creation, why the hell should you worship the Creator?
Creation.
Someone who made such a bad job of this, the only way you can even be born is through sin, I think he must be banished. Now, this is a fantastic device to keep people enslaved forever. If you do not even allow them to come to terms with their biology,
Yes.
they'll never come to terms with anything in their life. Always they will be dependent on an institution or a person or something who claims to have connections. An Italian mafia guy was once brought to the law court, and he just walked in with this fat cigar in his hand, and like this he came and sat down like he's a guest. Then the judge looked at his arrogance and asked, "Do you have a lawyer?" He blew the smoke out and said, "Well, I got friends in the jury." So
Yeah.
people who are supposed to have connections elsewhere, you will always be enslaved to them because you feel guilty about your biology. This whole thing goes into more grosser and grosser states. So except in certain cultures, everywhere else where dominant religious beliefs were spread, in all those cultures, unfortunately, they make you feel guilty of your very existence, because that way you will always be enslaved
Everyone needs to
to
hear
whatever
this. It also makes me sad.
they have set up. Something so fundamental as the menstrual cycles in a woman, she has to feel guilty about it and she's impure. Her existence is impure. Unfortunately, I want you and all the teachers of the world to understand, if your mother did not have menstrual cycles, you wouldn't be born, even if she met your father. Yes. So the life-making material, unused, is what it is. And if that is impure, your very birth is impure, that's what they're anyway trying to tell you, that your birth is impure. And to cover this, there's a whole lot of other stories which I don't want to enter. Once you are not in terms with your own physical existence, you essentially will never ever be in terms with any other dimension of your life. This itself will cover you forever. This is a fantastic trick to keep you enslaved forever. No wonder institutions have lasted, though they've lost their relevance, they stay, simply because your existence, your very existence, you're guilty of.
Yes.
If you're guilty of your very existence, that means one or that which is the source of creation should be even more guilty. You are eternally guilty, and that which has created all this must be even more carrying the burden of guilt. Guilt and fear have been a phenomenal tools to control populations, which has been successfully done for a long time. It's time this is broken.
So Jami Lynn, with your background as a therapist, dealing with sex and so on, what'd you think of the video?
I loved that. I thought it was brilliant, because he is absolutely right. When you make people in conflict with their biology, when you make people feel like there's something wrong with them just for existing and having a body that has genes that want to be passed on, like, how could you not live in fear and pain and just inner turmoil from that space?
100%. That was also a great takeaway there. And what are your thoughts on this whole stigma? I mean, sex itself, I mean, it is actually an interesting thing, because from the yogic standpoint, or these original roots of India, it's actually very openly talked about.
Right.
But the key here is he actually talks about this. There's even a certain temple in southern India where you'll basically see almost pornographic images on the outs. You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I can't remember the name, but I see it in my mind.
Okay, see, I don't know much about that either, but Sojugada talks about, and the whole idea is you'll see these images on the outside of the temple, and only on the outside. And so the whole idea and rationale for that is that essentially it's something that should be open and accepted, but it is a very surface level way to think, literally showing how in the temple it's only on the surface, but nothing inside. So it is interesting, because even in the modern day Indian culture, there actually is a huge stigma about topics like sex.
Right.
And even maybe in the Asian culture, because we tend to be so focused on just career and future and all that other stuff, and these are more of distractions. So I guess my question to you is, after watching that video and your background in this space, what's your advice to those that are still stuck in that stigma?
It's a good question. It's going to make me think for a moment. I think the first thing is coming into the realization that it is natural and normal to have a body that wants to be sexual. And then from there, like, once you come into a state of acceptance around it, there isn't the same, how to phrase this? Like, there's a lot of pain in sexuality because it is so oppressed. We've created so much violence and sexism and just suffering because we've made it a taboo subject. And so if you can bring it out of taboo and into just the normal state of being alive, then you can work with sexuality in a different way. And also you don't need it in the same way. It doesn't become this like peak state that you have to reach. Instead, it can just be part of like the flow of life.
That's it. Again, really well said. And he actually talks about this too, Sadhguru, about how in the East, modern day East, sex tends to be very stigmatized and not talked about, very hush-hush. And then the West, it's almost over-glorified, right? So he actually talks about how, in especially the media, it's literally sex and money that are the currencies for everything that's talked about. So it's almost given too much importance, right? And so the key again here is to just realize that it's normal, accept it, flow with it, as you just said, but then also there's no need to reject it and put it in the dark. And especially I think the reason for that, and correct me if I'm wrong because I'm not the therapist, I know you are, but I have heard this analogy, which is it's about the big pink elephant, right? And it's about essentially how, if I tell you right now, don't think about a big pink elephant, you're going to think about the big pink elephant. And so it's something that Eckhart Tolle talks about, which is that anything you resist will persist. Absolutely. The nature of the mind is to really not listen to you. And so this whole idea of using fear-mongering tactics, it's not the most sustainable way to go. I think it did some work and some success. I mean, there's a reason all these religions still exist. Absolutely. But at the same time, not the most sustainable way to go. And what's your take on that?
It does not help people. Yeah. It actually hurts people to exist in a state of fear and like trying to control yourself rather than coming into acceptance and love and compassion, and less about control and more about understanding, to where you actually have the ability to be with yourself in a different way.
There we go. And another question, take your time here if it is a deep one, but let's just say someone that is having a little trouble, let's say talking about these topics with, let's just say, their parents, and let's say the guy or girl is in school, whether it's middle school, whatever, these growing up times, but it's really not talked about with the family or the parents. What's your advice to the parents having a kid that's growing up?
This is actually a great question. There's so many people that are afraid that talking about sex will open up the child's mind to being sexual, which we live in a culture that is sex shaming and abstinence based, and so you do anything to try and keep your kids from being sexual. But if you don't talk about it, the likelihood that they're going to be sexual, because the body drive is there, it is exciting, especially as a teenager. You probably remember, parent, how excited your body was at that time, but then they won't know how to do it safely. So the reality is you have to talk to your kids about sexuality, and the best way to do it is with openness, with calm inside of your system. And if you don't know the answer to something, then say, I don't know, let's find out.
Great advice, sir. Thank you so much for sharing that. And going off of that, what about advice to, let's say, partnerships or people that are dating or in relationships? Let's say that is a topic of also a little bit of a struggle, right? What's your advice on that? Because I think that is not the easiest thing to talk about as well because of the stigma, right? Yes. So what's your thought?
Yeah, so I'll lean into one particular place in this, because there's so many ways you can struggle in sexuality, whether it's
a big question.
Yeah, whether it's affairs or like desire discrepancy, there's so many ways you can struggle. But if in relationship what you're struggling with is this idea of there's something wrong if we're being sexual, which can happen. There are people who have taken in the message that sex is sinful and it is bad, and if I'm sexual that means I'm doing something bad. Really the thing to come to would be sex is an expression of love. Helping yourself recognize that when you engage in being sexual, you're loving your body, you're loving your partner's body. It's an opportunity to really feel divinity in your relationship, offering love in a very specific way that you only do with this one person. For most people, not everyone, but for most people, you'll only do it with this one person. And so letting it be something special.
Once again, Jami, Lynn, thank you so much for sharing that. This is just invaluable advice and really hope. And I know you're appreciating what she's sharing here, because this is truly just such an honor to have someone from this background talking about such a stigmatized subject. So thank you so much again for that. I want to thank you all so much for watching, taking this time, hearing our perspectives. Want to share with the viewers where they can find you?
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube at Practice Intimacy. There's tons of free content for you if you want to delve deeper into sexuality. And then Instagram, Practice Intimacy, and you can find my website at jamilynnbeulah.com.
She's doing some amazing work, and definitely go to her channel, subscribe, and all of her links will be down below. If you have any other video reaction requests, topics, or guests that you want to see on the show, you can also comment down below. And with that, make a great day. Take this joyfully and stay conscious. Also, Jami did great.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Oh, this one.
There we go.
High five this time. Yeah,
Perfect.
I want all of it.